Monthly meeting. My name is Marge Maceda. I am the chair, and I'm calling this meeting to order at 6:34. Our secretary is not here this evening, so I will call the roll so that we have a quorum. 6001.
Present.
6002. 6003.
Present.
04.
Here.
05, that would be me. 06. 07. Thank you very much. Okay. If you would please, members of the commission, take a look at the agenda. And if you have any changes or additions, please let me know now.
I move that we approve the agenda as printed.
Second. Okey-doke, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the agenda is in order. Approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Everyone received them via email. Is there any discussion?
I move that we approve the minutes of the June ANC 6E meeting with any corrections submitted to the report. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is our police reports. And let's start, Rochelle, with your invited guest.
So some of you might not be aware, but I actually have two police areas in 6004. I have 3D and 5D. And 5D is the tiniest little area of 2 blocks. But let me tell you, those 2 blocks, you see a lot of action. And I invited our new commander, Commander Fitzgerald, to come introduce himself and give some stats and just say hello. And do I have anyone from that area? Morgan, Kirby, New Jersey, anyone here? Yeah, okay. And then I'll tell you about some problems. Go ahead and see that microphone over there, Commander, on that chair? See the chair right over there? Just
Oh,
on
yeah.
the other side of the camera.
There are a few seats up front, right in front row. Couple over here.
Well, good evening. I'm Commander Fitzgerald. I was named Commander of the 5th District back on June 5th. I don't think I'm talking to anybody in here because no one answered up when they said they
But
lived
that's
in
all right,
that
we're all
area.
listening.
Lieutenant Murphy is going to provide the overall stats for the CAC. But the main problem is the concern is around Dunbar High School. We have had 2 recent robberies lately down there. So I think it's more from young kids hanging out around the school, taking a chance of the opportunity of somebody walking by late at night as opposed to actually someone coming into the area and targeting. So I have sent officers down there, especially during the 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. hours to clear that out with the kids hanging out because we don't want those crimes of opportunity to be occurring. We're trying to push them into the 1st District. No offense, Brian. We're trying to get them south of New York Avenue. That's the kind of game we play. We would like hopefully catch them and apprehend them, but really the main thing is we want to stop this problem. And that's what we're doing. So you should see increased police presence down there. A little bit east of you, you've had several serious incidents where I put a lot of deployment over there. That's at New York Avenue to N Street, up towards P, over towards 1st and 2nd Street. So you should see an increased deployment there. And that's a big issue, but it doesn't mean we're going to neglect that Kirby Street area because we know how that can pick up. We are going to be instituting a day work bicycle unit for the burglaries. I know traditionally in the past that has been an issue down there, has been burglaries, and I feel that the bicycles are the most efficient way to get around the neighborhoods and actually see people casing the houses, creeping in the alleys, things like that. I do encourage all of you to call anytime you see suspicious activity. I know you hear this a lot, but it does help us tremendously, especially we have a lot of young officers out here. Their instincts aren't honed yet. They're not as in tune with what they're seeing. And I think if the people in the neighborhood recognize unusual activity, I really encourage you to call 911 because that really speeds it up. I have some older officers that are excellent, but young guys sometimes are still learning their jobs and learning their ways. I think that's a way to make them more efficient.
So let me bring up to Commander. So maybe you're aware of what Commander Porter briefed you on. So Kirby Street is like the problem street for the area. And so right there by the church on the corner of New York, and then we call it the vacant lot, which turned into a campground across the street. And so basically it is day after day, hour after hour, there's documentation from my constituents there, especially one constituent, of people constantly defecating and urinating against the church and in the alley. It goes all day long. And then also against the church, there's a little open way, and they will openly do drugs. I just saw it 3 days ago. They don't care who's watching them. You call the police. It is all day long.
I will have that cleaned out tomorrow. You'll see something.
Because we asked Commander Porter, she said she could not put a constant presence there.
We can't constantly, we come through with more aggressive officers to sweep it.
Okay.
And that's what I'll do. I mean, I can't put a car right there because of some of the violent crimes,
Yeah.
but I can get people to go down there and aggressively enforce the laws.
So it's that little church. Is anyone here from the church? No, okay. So it's the little church, and then there's the alleyway, and it's just all day long.
And just one thing, my background, so you understand, I came to 5D from the Criminal Investigations Division where I was a captain. All 7 patrol districts have a detective unit. They all reported to me. So I am aware of the crime problems in that area. However, my old focus was just closing the case. It happened, it occurred, we moved forward. Now the focus is how to stop it. I really don't want these things to happen at all. So it's a different change of mind in my thought process from actually, how do we close this, to deploying people properly to prevent it.
And in addition, I talked to, there's a couple of businesses on the New York Avenue side, the 200 block New York Avenue. One in particular is the Energy Coalition. They're a nonprofit. They literally have people camping in their front yard every night. And I talked to the young woman last week. There's only 2 employees there. And I asked for them to reach out to you. Maybe you can maybe just go there during the day. But they literally, they dry their clothes there. There's 3 guys camped out. They go underneath in the stairwell. And I don't know.
Well, what we're gonna do with that, that's a simple solution. The new PSA lieutenant for this PSA is Carlos Bahia. I'm gonna have him contact that corporation.
Okay.
Corporation comes, signs on with us, gives us barring notices, and we can lock them up for
Great.
trespass, and that usually ends at 1 or 2 times.
Okay.
But they have to cooperate with us on that. If they don't come forward with a barring notice, I'm not taking resources from the neighborhoods to help private business out. Private
Yes, sir.
business has to step up, because we have had that issue with some gas stations and stuff in the area. They won't support us by giving us the authority to arrest people on it, yet they want to call. I'm not taking that resource from the neighborhood. If you want your business to look like garbage, it's gonna stay looking like
Okay,
garbage.
maybe we can go together then.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then, because that would be, when I talked to them last week, they seemed uncertain what to do. They were gonna bring in the landlord, but,
They have the authority, they just gotta give us the
Okay.
authority to bar them, and that'll take care of that problem.
right.
Because like I said, the main thing is, businesses are important and everything, but the business has to step up too.
Correct.
And some businesses showing a willingness to help us, and I'm looking at 2 sides. If they're gonna sit in that business, they're gonna tolerate it, it's better they're there than sitting in your backyards and on your front steps. You're willing to come out and work with us, so that's where you gotta work with you. And that's the main point, we're not gonna give free service to the business. I mean, it's a real simple solution to them, but some fear retribution. Well, eventually you have to stand up as a neighborhood, and then you get less retribution.
no one's here from the Energy Coalition, right? I invited them? No, okay, all right. Okay, great.
All right,
Thank you very
ma'am.
much for coming, I appreciate
Oh,
it.
let me get my contact information for everyone. It's William Fitzgerald, WILLIAM .Fitzgerald, FITZGERALD @dc.gov. And my cell phone number is 202-270-2315. And I do encourage emails and phone calls, because I can only improve if I know what's going on and deploy the people properly. So don't be hesitant to email your concerns.
All right, great.
Thank you, ma'am.
I appreciate it.
Welcome to the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, I came late. What is your title? Commander of Justice.
Wendy, come on down.
Hi, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Murphy from 1D, PSA 103. I have a small area within the ANC 6E. So I got the overall stats from our crime analysis analyst, and for the last 30 days, we had an increase in violent crime 23%. It's actually 3 offenses over the same time period last year. Property crime is down 20% with a total reduction in crime for the 30-day period of 14%. For the breakdown for 1D, violent crime-wise, we had 2 robberies over the last 30 days. One occurred on the 17th of June at about 2:24 in the morning, 45 K Street. 5 suspects robbed a pizza delivery guy of pizza. They were armed with a long rifle and a handgun. Before that, there was a robbery, force and violence on June 13th, 4:30 in the morning at 83 K Street Northwest. 3 suspects, transgender, approached the complainant, started beating them about the face and body, and stole the cell phone. Other than that, we had no violent crime since that time period 1D. So any questions?
No, we're good to
Okay.
go. Glad
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming out. Is 3D here? How could I not see you?
I'm Officer Berlin, 3rd District, PSA 308. I'm going to give you I took the numbers out of my own paperwork. I'm not going to give you percentage decrease. I'm just going to tell you about the crimes that occurred over the last 30 days that are relevant to the area. The first was a homicide. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
The first was a homicide that occurred on 6/18. I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but at 1315 5th Street during the midnight tour, gentleman by the name of Patrick Shaw was killed. He was shot in the back, a single shot, in the parking lot adjacent to that address. The suspects were two black males between the ages of 18 and 25, average height 5'9" to 5'10". They fled in an unknown direction. They haven't been apprehended as of yet. We had 4 robberies. 700 R Street on 628, 1411 5th Street on 67, 1200 5th Street on 69, and 714 Rhode Island Avenue on 615. 2 of them were robbery, force, and violence, which means the individual was attacked, and in just about every case, money and a cell phone was taken. And there was an attempt robbery on Rhode Island Avenue, nothing was taken. The individual was assaulted. The second big thing that occurred over the last 30 days was an ADW gun, which is assault with a deadly weapon gun, which occurred in the front of 1337th Street, which is right across from Gibson Plaza, if you're familiar with that corridor. Also on the midnight tour, 12:25 a.m., 2 individuals were shot in front of the location. They were both hospitalized. From what I understand, they're both going to make it. They're in decent condition at this point. I haven't seen either individual. They're known to me. They're known to the area. I haven't seen them on the street since then, but I've asked around. I think they're going to be okay. Be aware that these 2 individuals have been shot at numerous times over the years. One of them was shot twice last year, and the other one was shot at least 2 to 3 times that I'm aware of. So this is an ongoing issue. Once again, I think it's a resurfacing of what we call the beef between different crews in the area. That's what I'm surmising. Beyond that, I haven't been told much by the detectives. We've had a little bit of a spike in burglaries. We had 4 burglary 2s, which means the homeowners weren't at home, and 1 burglary 1. The burglary 1 is when somebody is in the residence and a burglar comes into the house. With the burglary 1, it was on 431 Ridge Street. Again, it happened on the midnight tour of duty. The homeowner scared the individual off and he fled the scene. I guess he had removed a big screen TV and was going to take it, and then went into their bedroom and then.
So it was so what happened is that it's an Airbnb, she rents out her room, and so those
Okay.
guests scared away the criminal.
Okay. Yeah, so that ended well, fortunately.
Yeah.
Once again, B2s are when somebody's not home. We had, I'm going to give you the addresses so you know if it's in proximity to where you live, so you can be cognizant of what's going on. And again, along the lines of what the other commander was saying from the 5th District, if you see anything, call the police. Don't feel like you're putting any extra work on us. We love to respond to those things. We want to come out and we want to address the situation right away. 1518 New Jersey Avenue. That actually happened in the morning. Broke in through a rear door, electronics were taken. 1715 6th Street, happened on the evening tour duty at 8:15 p.m. Forced entry through the back door, that seems to be something that's very common. They're getting in through the back door where they can kind of be undercover and not be seen from the street. So secure your back gates, that's an issue. Now granted, somebody really wants to get in, they're gonna break the door down, but a lot of people are leaving their gates open. And 1 burglary 2 report, which I took myself, 5 or 6 people living in the house together, none of them felt it necessary to turn the alarm on. The alarm can help. Turn your alarms on, please. Because at least we know when the silent alarm goes off, they dispatch us, we can catch these guys. So that burglary on 6:30 took place at 425 Q. And again, that was personal items were taken in electronics. I'm gonna just touch briefly on the thefts from auto again. We're still getting in spurts thefts from auto. I believe it's the same guy that's doing it. It's been described to me as a medium-skinned black individual on a bicycle, 40 to 50 years of age. He's preying on Marion Street because it's not a well-traveled street. There's not a lot of car traffic there. Please tell your guests that come to visit you, or if you see people from out of town getting out of their cars with out-of-state plates, advise them not to leave their items in the car, because this guy or these people are looking into the car and it's just sitting there right on the back seat. Suitcases, electronics, computers, things of that nature. Take them into your house. Encourage your guests to do the same. Ma'am?
I think I was a victim of him. It was 2 p.m. during the week, right in front of Rhode Island Avenue by 7-Eleven. I
Yeah.
put my suitcases in the car. I went into the house to get the kids, and I forgot to lock the car. He had opened up all the suitcases,
Right.
gone through everything until another neighbor said, "Excuse me,"
Right.
and took off. I had a plane to catch, so I took
Right.
off. I tried doing the online police report,
Right.
but it bounced back and said that it needed an investigation.
Okay.
So should I just call and
What I
start
would
the
do
process?
tomorrow, call for a unit, call 911 and say you have a theft from auto report that you'd like to do.
Okay.
And it'll dispatch an officer or someone like myself to come
What
out.
kind of crimes can we do online to report? Like,
Mostly minor property crimes. You can do thefts from auto. I don't know why they kicked that back. People do them on
maybe
construction of
because
property.
someone saw
Okay.
that
Yeah.
there was a witness.
Yeah, go ahead and report that and we'll get somebody out there. Does anybody have any questions? I know there's one more thing I did want to touch on, and that's, there's been some email traffic back and forth about people loitering in public, and especially in the 600 block of P Street. Just understand that we're not big fans of them doing it either, but they're on public space. Unless we catch them committing a crime, we cannot tell these individuals to move on. They're on public space. If it's on private property and the property owner wants to get a barring notice, we'll be more than willing to do that. So we're trying very, very hard to get the area around that section of town cleaned up, but it's difficult because we're sort of caught in between what's legal and what isn't legal and so forth. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, what about the loitering that tends to happen around the subway station? Are you doing anything about that, or?
Metro Transit Police are responsible for the bus stops and the metro stations. Understand though, if there's a crime being committed anywhere, call 911, they'll dispatch us, we'll help Metro Transit out. But they're supposed to police those distinct areas. That's their area of responsibility.
Can we call it in if the folks loitering begin to fight?
Absolutely. Yes.
There's a lot of traffic coming in and out of 1330 and 5th throughout the year. Of course, it's work in the summertime. I know that location's been raided 3 times.
Yes.
Please.
That's a very problem. We're well aware of that house and the problems that occur there. In fact, there's an ongoing operation to try to curtail what's going on there. I mean, the detectives and the people way above my pay grade are well aware of that residence. And as you stated, they've raided it 3 times. And I think once last week, as recently as last week. And they got some ammunition out of there and some other things.
Was the police department able to gain footage from the shooting that took place on 5th Street?
The only, we got a still shot of a vehicle that was seen fleeing southbound on 7th Street. And I've been personally trying to look up some of the black SUVs that fit the description, which may be parked in the vicinity of an area where I believe that a rival crew might have used the vehicle.
Have y'all conversed with the property management at that development?
I go over there all the time and talk to the ladies over there.
I do believe they have some video footage to offer if y'all have made that conversation.
For this particular shooting or for the shooting on 1330?
For the particular shoot that took place.
On 5th Street? Yeah, our detectives have been over there numerous times and pulled that footage, so.
And Frank, for that particular arrest, the resident council is quite on it, to say the
Right,
least.
I had a conversation today.
Yes, so
What does that mean?
they're aware of what's going on, and they're doing things from their end to help resolve the situation. There's a resident, so we're talking about Second Northwest Co-op. This is a cooperative. The residents are involved with, basically lives there too, so they can also take action.
And the other thing I was just mentioning, I don't want to go on and on because I know you have other business to attend to. If anybody here feels threatened by anybody on the street, saying something to them, threatening their dogs, their person, call in immediately from your cell phone. Give a description of the individual. We'll get an officer out there. That's a way for us to attack this. If people are doing menacing things to you when you're walking by the bus stop, let us know about it, okay? Because we do want to attack this issue. Anybody else? Okay. It's a
Thank you so
pleasure.
very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Flag me down if you guys
We
need
won't
anything.
see you again until September.
Oh, really? All right. Well, I'll be on the street.
For those of you who are standing in the back, there are a few seats. There's a couple over here, there's a couple over here. So if you want to work your way up while Denpen Anna Shapiro is getting ready to make her announcements with regard to parcel 42. Yes, sir.
Mark, Ibrahim Mukmin. I've been on travel, but I'm just curious. I attended the meeting that the ANC, I think, is one sponsor joined with somebody at Gibson Plaza, and I signed up to work on the Public Safety Committee, and I haven't gotten any notice. I was wondering if the committee met or...
No, they have not yet met. We are in the process of arranging it and getting a location, and then everyone who gave us an email address will get information via email.
Yeah, because, I mean, as you know, I've been at this a little while, and I wanted to try and get out ahead of the next catastrophic...
Yeah. No, we're well aware, and we're trying to get that set up. Actually, we have no meeting in August, so we're hoping that we'll be able to get a meeting planned during that month.
Okay, thank you.
Anna?
Thank you. Hello, my name is Anna Shapiro. I'm with the Office of the Deputy Mayor for Planning and Economic Development, and I'm the project manager on the Parcel 42 site that's just catty corner here, as you all know. On June 13th, we hosted a public workshop to get community input on the redevelopment of that parcel. It's part of a new initiative, new mayoral initiative, to get community input prior to soliciting the property for public disposition. So before we issue the RFP, we wanted to get the public's input on what you wanted to see in the RFP and in the developer proposals. We received really great feedback, and thank you to Commissioners Padro, Maceda, and Chappell for coming, and to anyone else who was able to attend. We also have an online engagement form, so if you weren't able to attend and still want to provide feedback on the site, on ideas you might have, you can go online to parcel42dc.mindmixer.com. And I'll also leave my business card on the table, so you can email me to get that web address. That'll be open through Friday the 10th. But if you also want to, just send me an email too, that's fine. In the meantime, if you aren't able to access it. Also, computers are obviously available upstairs to do that, and we have some paper worksheets that you can fill out in our office if you don't have access to the internet, and that's at 1350 Pennsylvania Avenue, which will also be on my business card. We'll also be hosting a follow-up meeting where we'll basically report back on what we heard on the 13th, and then also provide you an opportunity to prioritize the feedback that we did receive. That'll be actually right here in this room on July 28th from 6:30 to 8:30, and it'll basically be a presentation given by the Deputy Mayor's Office, and then also some boards that will provide you the opportunity to give that feedback. So if you have any questions for me, let me know, but just in the interest of time, you can also email me, so I'll leave my card on the table.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. We will send out a reminder via Twitter and on our Facebook page to remind people of this meeting. Is Sarah Flashbaugh here? Huh. Okay, Sarah, I just want to make sure you're here. There is a seat up front if you'd like.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is 1001 6th Street. Pete, 5 minutes, please.
Good evening, and thank you to the Commission and everybody for the opportunity to just make a quick presentation this evening. I'm Pete Otney, as Mark pointed out. I'm with Boston Properties. We partnered recently with the Stewart family, who is the long-term owner of the property that you're probably all familiar with as a surface parking lot today, bounded to the north by New York Avenue, to the south by K Street, and then between 5th and 6th Street, right adjacent to City Vista. We've been in front of the zoning committee on a couple of different occasions to present our project. that we're obviously very excited about. Just to give you a quick overview, and I'll try to twist it both directions. This is the location of the site, a little bit closer view. This is City Vista. This is the project that we have currently under development for Arnold and Porter. We've designed an 11-story, approximately 530,000 square foot office and retail building on the site. The zoning requirements are that at least 50% of the ground floor is retail space, and we're planning about 28,000 square feet of additional retail space for the project. And then floors 2 through 11 will be office space. The design has been done by Shalom Baranis Associates, and we're very pleased with the design. This is what the building will look like. This is a view from K Street. One of the interesting things about the site is at the 5th and K Street intersection is what the zoning for the Mount Vernon Triangle Overlay calls the principal intersection area. And we're limited to 50 feet in height at that area. So we've got a 4-story expression of the building on this side, which creates a great outdoor terrace for the 5th floor of the office space. The building is a modern design, but I think is really commensurate with the rest of the neighborhood. It has a terracotta skin mixed in with a lot of glass curtain wall. It's not a purely glass box. Really excited about the design. In terms of the timing for the project, we are currently pursuing a major office tenant that if we are successful, we would start this development sometime in the next 12 months and complete it in about 36 months. If we're not successful on that tenant, then we'll continue to market the project, and it'll be somewhat dependent on the timing that we're able to secure a lead tenant. So. As I said, appreciate the opportunity. We're really glad to be partnering with the Stewart organization, the long-term landowners, and we're excited to bring something new and exciting to the neighborhood. I think everybody will be really pleased with and will be architecturally significant. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to field those. No problem.
This project is in my single-member district. For those of you who are familiar, it is directly across the street from Busboys and Poets. It is presently a parking lot, and on the 5th Street side, it has that little piece of artwork that surrounds on the fence, so that you can be aware of where we're talking about. The subcommittee for zoning for the ANC met the other night, and we talked about a lot of different things. The biggest objection that we had was the parking entrance and exit would be directly across the street from Ace Hardware on 5th Street. And we thought that was going to make 5th Street a little bit congested, to say the least. But we did agree that with rush hour traffic, it would be right turn only coming out. So instead of going towards New York Avenue, anyone coming out of the garage would have to go down toward K Street, heading toward Mass Avenue, rather than trying to get across traffic where the New York Avenue, L Street, 5th Street craziness goes on every day of the week. So with that in mind, we said we really didn't like that idea too much, but the city is pushing for 5th Street to be the entrance and exit. And Boston Properties and Guy Stewart and I have talked about a community benefit package, a monetary amount that would be donated, and it could be donated either to the Mount Vernon Square Civic Association to be used as grant money or money for businesses within the community, or it would be given to the CID, which is the Community Improvement District at Mount Vernon Triangle. That is still to be worked out, and the amount of money is still to be worked out. But in essence, we are in agreement with the proposed building and hope that the tenant that they're luring is in agreement and decides to come on board. It is also my understanding that if the tenant does not come out of this little agreement, that this will remain a parking lot until they get a tenant. So the building and the construction would not begin if they do not have a tenant in place. Correct, Pete?
I believe that's correct.
Okay.
We would seek a major tenant before starting construction, and obviously that's market dependent at this point.
Yes, sir.
When construction begins, what happens to the bike share?
That's actually one of the things that the zoning committee brought up and that we returned in order to talk to them about on the second occasion. We have made contact with Capital Bike Share and have gotten their agreement to allow us to, at our cost, will relocate the Capital Bike Share location to a temporary location during the construction, and then we'll relocate it back to the site after the construction is complete. Where that goes is not determined yet. They're looking to talk to us about that and determine the location, but it will be relocated off-site during construction and then back on the site after construction.
Pete had suggested across from Safeway, there by that little triangle park right there. I made a suggestion that they move it around onto K Street. From where the new bakery is to the corner of 4th Street is a parking lot, and there's plenty of space temporarily to put any number of bike stalls. And it is, we know and understand, it is one of the busiest bike program locations. So that will be worked out before everything is put into place. What is before us this evening is for support of public space. One thing I did want to mention, there are some really nice trees there, 2 on New York Avenue, 1 on 5th, 2 on K Street. Originally, they were going to tear them down. The subcommittee said, no, we really would like to see them be saved, because by the time these little sapling trees grow up, I will be dead and gone. And I would love to enjoy this shade in an area that is protected by the trees. So
this diagram actually shows that, the darker green circles, if you can see those, specifically the 4 or 5 to the north. This is an existing tree as well to the south, but it's not a large tree. These 5 are the existing, what we classified as old growth trees. And so we've revamped our streetscape and our proposal to DDOT. This actually keeping those trees puts us out of compliance with the Mount Vernon Triangle overlay and the streetscape guidelines that DDOT would like us to implement on this site. But in deference to the committee's suggestion to keep those trees, we've changed our site plan to show retaining those 5 old growth trees. And as long as DDOT approves that, we would do that and those trees would stay in place.
yes, ma'am.